After all these years of getting used to Trek, is it wrong that the fact that we don't have a smooth operator on the ship makes me kinda weirded out? Everyone seems kinda, I don't know, what's the word? Realistic? Welcome to the heart of the stories we tell. My name is Rob, and tonight I will be reviewing Episode 5 of Orville, Pria. And before we get started unpacking this episode in particular, I'd like to address some comments I've received, because, well, they're some of the first real feedback I've gotten. And it was suggested that I should stop looking at this as a comedy show and start looking at it more as a serious sci-fi drama. And now, on one hand, I totally agree. Like I said in my first review, this definitely has the soul of Trek. But at the same time, Fox is advertising it as a comedy. Everything about it says comedy. They go out of their way for jokes. Now, that's not a bad thing. Being a comedy doesn't mean you never take anything seriously. In fact, quite the opposite. Comedy is some of our greatest way to take a look and give a what to society. It's a way of teaching lessons. Satire in general, which this is definitely satirical, is a great way of teaching lessons and showcasing ridiculousness within our own group. And by placing this as sci-fi, it at the same time makes it so that you have a way of feeling like there's something more going on. But in reality, the dick and fart jokes are helping pass along social commentary. For now, I welcome you to our community, Eric, and anyone else who's new. We try to talk about the hows and whys of stories, and I think this one's going to get very interesting if it lasts. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button and enable alerts. But for now, the question of this episode is pretty simple. How much do you trust a pretty face? And, well, like I said up top, Kirk would have fallen for this hook line and probably other body parts. One of my friends and I always used to joke if we could ever write an episode for Voyager, it would have them run into someone named Tiberius, and have it turn out to be a long-lost descendant of a human captain who was out on the frontier. But alright, let's throw this up there and talk about this episode particulars. So once again, it's stop. Spoiler time. Alright, so last week we had Liam Neeson. Tonight we have Charlize Theron, and let's see how they use that acting talent. Well, they use her as a type of succubus, a person who's using their sexual wiles in order to get in close. And considering more than half the crew is male, that works really well. As great as the whole do you trust her or not plot was, though, the fact that the two female crew members were the ones that saw through it. In fact, did we not even really see the Doctor? No, okay. Made it a little interesting. But we had a side plot, and that side plot involved teaching our good friend Mr. Data, oh wait, no, Isaac, how could I possibly confuse those two, what humor is. And I have to admit, I laughed harder than I have laughed at anything in this show when he amputated the guy's leg. Of course, the idea of some outside entity not understanding human thought process is an old one that we see in magic and science, we see in Frankenstein, which I just talked about this weekend, we see in comic books, you name it. And it was pretty funny this time. Even the callback when the foot dropped down out of the ceiling was great. But of course, all of it was to make us feel a little more close to Isaac, his particular thought process. And, of course, to endear us for when the shock came. Which, of course, I'm just going to say this right now, modern technology interfacing with future technology was never going to end well. But alright, let's talk about time travel for a minute. And, boy, is time travel complicated. I rail after shows messing up time travel over and over again, from Doctor Who to every Star Trek you can imagine. But you know what? The Orville managed to do it amazingly well. Stabilized wormhole is probably the best theoretical way of time traveling. And at the same time, the idea of grabbing someone who died and whose ship was destroyed but taking it to the future actually works way better than most sci-fi does for time travel. In fact, I have to actually agree with her opinion. If she didn't do it, she'd be the one changing time, and she'd be the one messing things up. The end with destroying the actual wormhole was a little bit much for cleaning up everything, but I guess that's just what I'm going to have to get used to. I will say, the fact that Pria never came back in time means that we could argue until the cows come home about whether this episode ever actually happened at all, or if something else happened in its place, in which case Orville never would have destroyed the wormhole, in which case, oh my god, no, no, ugh. Even though I just said they were the best, they still hit the end loop that destroys all of reality. But again, the episode itself was really about who do you trust, who comes in and has your back, and maybe more importantly, how do you convince a friend that you have their best interest at heart? Now, overall, there's also the whole do you make your own destiny question. The Orville was supposed to be destroyed. So, everything that happens now changes that future. Everything they do, every life they save, every life they take, every time they show up, it's a whole new ball game. Who knows what's going to change? Now, having said that, I bet that teleporter device disappeared from his desk. If it shows up again in later episodes, I'm totally calling Star Trek level shenanigans. But I'm still enjoying the show. What did you guys think? Did you catch a hidden meaning in there that I didn't? Did you think of something that was cool that I missed talking about? And how do you like the guest stars? Let me know down in the comment section. And of course, if you enjoyed my insane ramblings, give me a thumbs up and share this video with a friend or family member or maybe on Facebook. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and enable alerts. I'm trying to build a community here, one where we can study and talk about all sorts of stories. And in this particular case, what we're talking about is a true sci-fi comedy that is going to change the way we look at ourselves if we look at it just right. And to that, I tip my hat to Seth MacFarlane. Way to go. I hope you all have a good night, and thanks for walking with me through the heart of the stories we tell.